Well guys, you clicked on the video, so you know what movie we're talking about today. But before we get to that, we should try to summon him. Trevor Juice. Trevor Juice. Trevor Juice! What the hell's happening? It's showtime! Nice fucking movie!
The juice is loose.
Beetlejuice Beetlejuice comes to us from director Tim Burton and is the long-awaited sequel to the 80s classic. After a family tragedy, 3 generations of the Dietz family return home to Winter River. Still haunted by Beetlejuice, Lydia's life is turned upside down when her rebellious teenage daughter Astrid accidentally opens a portal to the afterlife. The fact that we now live in a world where Micheal Keaton after all these years has returned to play my 2 favorite roles from him, I think I can now die happy. So fun fact about me, I grew up on the Tim Burton films, and despite a few misses from him over the years, he's always been one of my favorite directors, and I've always admired his weird and absurd style. So yeah, of course I love the original Beetlejuice from 1998, and it's easily in my top 5 Burton movies. I love the film's style, the practical work throughout the picture, the great use of stop motion, it's got some very memorable characters, and Micheal Keaton is just phenomenal as this character. For the mere 17 minutes that he's actually in it. Yeah, that's always been my biggest gripe with the movie is that the titled character is barely in it, but every moment he is in it, you do cherish it. So after waiting an eternity, aka 36 years, the Ghost with the Most finally returns in the long-awaited sequel titled Beetlejuice Beetlejuice. And I bring up the title like that because, you know how many times I've almost slipped up and said the name 3 times? That would have been a problem, obviously. And when it comes to this movie, this is one that I was very much anticipating, but also very skeptical about due to the fact that it's kind of been in production hell for a while. And as the film's release date got closer, I just prayed so hard that this movie would be good. I really wanted it to be that freaking good. Now, I'm not saying that it had to be like the next Top Gun Maverick or anything, it just had to be enjoyable enough to where I would at least recommend it. And while I can't say it's one of the best movies I've seen this year, I can definitely say that it's one of the few movies I've seen this year that I just had a freaking blast with. Right off the bat, this really does feel like a much needed return to form for Tim Burton. This isn't the best movie of the year, but it's for sure the best looking movie of the year when it comes to the atmosphere, style, the lighting, and all the amazing practical effects. I was just enthralled in the filmmaking here. Which, speaking of the effects, that was hands down my favorite thing about this movie. They tried to stay as faithful as possible to the first film as much as they could, and they did a pretty good job. Everything from the production design, the animatronics, costumes, and the puppetry make this a great looking film that I could not take my eyes off of. And I really appreciated that despite not being able to use stop motion for the sandworm, they tried their damnedest with the CGI to make sure it looked as stop motion-y as possible, and it looks great. And I'll also be honest, this movie is so freaking insane that once it was over, I looked over at my brother and said, "Dude, that was an acid trip from hell," and one I very much liked. All the actors did a great job, especially the 3 from the original, and I like the direction that they went with them. Like how Lydia has her own ghost hunting show, which makes total sense for that character. But Micheal Keaton returning to his iconic role just made me so freaking happy, and every time he was on screen, he was just a joy to watch, and he's just as funny as he was in the original. And if you're expecting Beetlejuice to be in this movie a lot more than he was in the original, he very much is, but his bits are very spread out, and there are giant gaps in the movie where he's not in it. Willem Dafoe was a great new add-on, and I love his backstory of how he made it to the afterlife, and how he's still holding on to what he did when he was alive. I'm not going to give it away for those who haven't seen the movie yet, but it is pretty funny. There's also a surprising cameo from someone very early on in the movie, and I'm not going to say who it is, but it was great to just see this person back in a Tim Burton movie again. Now you may just picked up from what I said that there seems to be a crap ton of characters in this movie. And there are. And it's one of my biggest problems with the movie. Hell, I didn't even mention like Monica Bellucci, Justin Theroux, or Bob. Bob's fucking incredible, man, let me tell you. With so many characters throughout the movie, it gets to be so cluttered that some of them don't even get a lot of focus. Monica Bellucci, hands down, has the best character introduction in the movie. Actually, it just might be one of my favorite character introductions ever, but as the movie goes on, you slowly start to realize she has no purpose in this movie whatsoever. actually was funny. So I took my brother with me to go see this movie, who had just seen parts of the original, and when she came on, he looked at me like, was she the original? And I was like, no, I don't even know who this is yet. And with so many characters, the movie at points can seem unfocused on what it wants to be. But at the same time, I don't think the movie really cares, because just like us, it's having a ton of fun, and it's such a fever dream of a movie that I really didn't care as it went on. Now, one question you may be wondering, is this an okay movie to take the kids to? Well, coming from someone who doesn't have kids, I can usually tell you whether or not it's a family-friendly PG-13 or not. But when it comes to this, I'd say 10 and up should be okay, but honestly, if I was you and you have kids who want to see this, I'd go see it beforehand and judge for yourself, because despite the PG-13 rating, there are bits and pieces that go pretty hard for a PG-13 movie. But in the end, I had a really good time at Beetlejuice Beetlejuice, and I think fans of the original will have fun as well. This is a movie I honestly hope really does good at the box office, because I want to see more movies go back to the days of practical effects and less CGI. But aside from the effects and the production, the film got some great acting, a great style, it's funny, and I know you're gonna have a good time at the movies if you go see it this weekend. It's honestly like this year's Bad Boys Ride or Die, where it didn't have to be anything great, and it just had fun with what it was.
Beetlejuice! What the f?
I'm gonna give Beetlejuice Beetlejuice a B. Oh, and yes, I have seen the cartoon series, which has always been so fucking bizarre to me, because in the original, Beetlejuice tries to marry Lydia, but in the cartoon, they're just hanging out and shit and having fun. Weird. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. Subscribe to my channel, like this video, turn on the notification bell, and while you're at it, go follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Trev's Movies, and I'll be back later with more reviews. I'll see you then.